Oh. Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan and my camera is extremely out of focus here. There we go. That's better. My name is Jonathan and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays when I go live on YouTube. And if you'd like to reach out to me outside of my YouTube, you could consider joining the Discord I've created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to check out the different meals and recipes that I've been enjoying as I've been working towards my weight loss goals. Today is day 1004. 1000. You got to do it 1,000 times till it gets in the back of your brain stem. That's where it's at. It's just part of my life now. But in that time, I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 260 pounds, maybe 270. Yeah, it's been awesome. So if anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love those as well. We got weigh-in Wednesday coming up tomorrow. If you are struggling with your diet or you're struggling with sticking to a whole food, plant-based diet, let us know what's going on. Maybe we can help you. Maybe there's some tips or tricks that that we've used over the years to keep ourselves on track. Ask me or ask anybody here. We'd love to help you out. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what's going on. Let's share it. Let's let everybody know how much weight you can lose eating a whole food plant-based diet, eating the just whole natural foods that you can get from the earth with sunlight and rain and soil. At the end of the day, what are some things that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Go ahead, switch over to the main. Let's see who we have in the discussion today. Carrie's checking in, number 1. Carrie, hi. Hope everything's going great at home. Janet says, hey, John, you just finished 47 miles on the bike, and I bet you rocked it. I love that, 47 miles. Let's, those big bike rides, you get to see some amazing, amazing places, and the views are awesome. And that's awesome, Janet. Thanks for sharing. Pretty Girl's mom, hello, hello. Who else? We got Rochelle in here. Rochelle, I hope you've been doing well. It's been a while. Let's see here. Pretty Girl's mom, hello. Yeah, Janet, that's awesome. Yes. I watched a lot of people do some amazing things on a bike this past week, and you can do some, people in general, we're all able to do just amazing things. And maybe that's what I'll talk about today, because that sounds like a good topic. So Tennyson Yoga Girl checking in. Hey, Tennyson Yoga Girl, hope you're having a great day. Real quick, we'll go over food since yesterday. Hasn't been a ton of food, and it's right back into the routine. Let's get into it. That's what I love about this diet. You eat an abundance of food, and if you just get back to that abundance of food that you eat, then you don't even think about the junk food. I had opportunity to eat Gardettos and other crackers that we had left over, wheat thins. I could have had some of those today. All things that I might have snacked on in the past week. When food was scarce and calories were low. But now that I have, I'm back in our kitchen, we're back in our house, the food scarcity's gone, and it's easy to get back into what we have. And so, you know what? I suck at photos. I only took one photo of my food today. But I can tell you what I ate. Let me see. So, for breakfast, savory oatmeal, steel cut oats, oat groats with mushrooms, spinach, and onions, and then a bag of broccoli. I cannot talk to you right now, sir. And then for lunch, I had a big bowl of potatoes and broccoli, and I just ate that at 4:30. So I had my lunch at 4:30. Probably had my breakfast at, I had it like 10 o'clock today, a little bit earlier than normal. But I am now stuffed full, no interest in eating any junk food. And I'm already feeling better. That's something I've talked about a lot that I learned over the second year of this challenge, that, when I'm eating clean, when I'm eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I feel my best. Hey, let's see. Marilyn Bradley just subscribed. Thanks, Marilyn. Thanks for checking out the channel. And if you have any questions, let me know. I love helping people out. And if you need any help, let us know. Carrie here says that she's got to get back into the swing of taking food photos, or I got to get back into the swing of taking food photos. We're having leftover Mega Veggie chili for dinner if I'm hungry later. Yes, I've been eating less food just because of the timing of things, and I've still been very busy. This person is persistent. Let me check this out. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Sorry, guys. He called and realized he left the wrong phone number, so he called me back. So it wasn't really that big of an emergency. He just was trying to get a hold of me. So, let's see. Carrie says, and then she's about to run to take the kids to classes. She'll be listening, but not interacting much. So, she'll have to have the kids do her texting for her while she's driving. I did a lot of that this past week, letting other people write text messages for me. So yeah, I was talking a little bit about my volume of food consumption. It's been down a little bit. I might keep it down and see how it goes. I do eat a lot of food, and I don't have there's I'm not shy with admitting that. Yeah, and so we'll see what eating a little bit less volume of food does, and see how long I can do it is the other thing, because I believe that we all have a certain volume of food that we crave or that we desire as, our genetics, and for one person, it might be 2.5 pounds of food a day. And another person, it might be 5 pounds of food. Um, and, so, I know I eat probably closer to the 5 pounds of food a day, and I still eat that much. I just lower the calorie density. I eat 12 ounces of broccoli twice a day. I eat, a couple pounds of potato when I have potato. I mean, I did take this photo today. This is my potatoes from today, and there's 4 potatoes in there maybe. And so it's, I eat a large volume of food, and I don't, I'll see what but I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm hungry or where I'm uh, falling behind on what my body wants, because that's where I think a lot of the cravings and a lot of the diets fall apart. That's where every one of my diets fell apart in the past. I was just no longer able to eat that little amount of food anymore. Sometimes I was able to do it for a couple months. When I was taking appetite suppressants, I was able to do it as many as 9 months. And so when I quit being able to take those appetite suppressants, my body was like, okay, finally you're getting the signal that we're starving. And I wasn't able to continue to eat that low volume of food. So, I'm going to take it as it goes. I'm going to eat somewhat intuitively. And I think that if you're eating foods that are 100 and 200 calories per pound, like the fruits and the vegetables that I'm eating, that you can eat a bit intuitively. Let's see. Plant Powered Janet says she's going to get her groceries. I imagine it's going to be lots of wonderful fruits and vegetables that you're eating on your raw. I forgot how many days you've been doing the raw, but I know you were doing a raw reboot. So I'm sure you're going to get some great food for that. Jay says that you are a 250-pound man, not a 500-pound man. You are eating less. Is that what that said? You were eating. Now you eat less. Your stomach is shrinking. Yeah. Well, right. There's, I think our stomach is like our lungs, in that there's not they expand very large, and they get a certain smallness, I guess. But maybe it's almost like when your skin turns to raisins, maybe that's what, like, your stomach does that. Maybe, I don't know. But I think that our stomachs are designed to hold a huge capacity of food when we have that food available. We're designed to live. We're survivors. And that's something that I know, I see when people do that Ragbri event. I see when I've done other camping events that you see when people climb Mount Everest. You see that our bodies are survival machines, and it's got backup mechanisms for when you're deprived of sleep. Your mind goes to a different mode. And I noticed that this past week, that there was a clarity of thought on what I was focused on, but everything else was fuzzy maybe. And that's a natural instinct. That's when people say that, you get that second wind, or that you kind of, if you've ever put yourself in a point to exhaustion, you probably know what I'm talking about. That you have some, you think differently, because that's your body switches to that mode of thinking. Just like when you water fast, your body thinks differently, and you have a similar kind of clarity of thought. But again, I'm imagining that you're able to think more clearly in one area of your life, but then in order to do that, your brain has to be not as focused on the other things. And it's, as humans, we can push limits. And it might be because we have that imagination that we can envision a future of what it would be like if we do accomplish this thing we're trying to do. We're different creatures than every other creature on this planet. And I believe that one of the reasons why we dominate the planet is because we have these adaptations to all kinds of different scenarios. We're not just good at, we can adapt from being out in the daylight to the darkness. Whereas, a raccoon, sees worse in the day than we see at night, or if that makes sense. And we have the ability to go weeks without food, whereas other animals wouldn't be able to do that. We can push ourselves to exhaustion and travel, hundreds of miles. You don't see other animals that can run like humans can run, and to migrate like humans can migrate. And I believe it's all survival stuff that our modern world allows us to forget exists. And that modern world puts this processed food in front of us that allows us to forget what natural dieting is, and what survival would really have to be. Until I water fasted, I never truly knew what hunger was. And even while water fasting, I don't know if I ever actually learned what true hunger is, because true hunger is not only just not eating, but it's not eating and not having access to any food. Like, if in the way I fasted, sure, I didn't eat any food. I only consumed water, and I got hungry, but I was surrounded by food. If at any point I wanted to go into the pantry and get something, or into the refrigerator, or to the grocery store or the gas station, I could have. But if I was in a scenario where I was in a desert and I had not eaten anything for 40 days and there was nothing around to eat, that's really what true hunger is. And I won't ever really be able to experience that in this world, because, or I don't imagine I will. I hope I don't ever have to. But it makes a difference, and we're able to conceive that difference. And so, anyways, I got on a tangent about this, because you were talking about my stomach shrinking. I think, I also think our bodies can only process the calories so fast. And when I eat my meal for today, my body's processing the calories from that food, and it's going to process the calories from that food until I put more food in my stomach to replace it. And when I put that more food in my stomach to replace it, then it says, hey, we got new stuff. Let's get rid of the old. And it doesn't process everything from the food, because it's got something new coming in. But when we starve ourselves, or we do long fasting, or we skip meals, then our body is holding on to that food and it's digesting more calories from that food. And at a certain point, it might not be getting, the calories might not be as good. There might be a diminishing return on that. So replacing it with new food, I think, is important. And that's, I don't know, just some tangents or rants, I guess, here. Janet here says she's 9 days raw, doing it for 30. Awesome. I know there was a few of you guys that were doing that, and this is probably the best time to kind of do it as far as getting fruits and vegetables, or a variety of fruits and vegetables in season. Has it been very expensive in comparison to how you normally eat? That would be something I'd be interested in knowing, because I know that's some complaints I've seen before, but I know you can affect that too. I guess you're probably eating some frozen fruits, which is usually in season kind of stuff that you can get for a pretty good price. Jay here says, Chef AJ says to only eat when hungry, not when the clock says to. Yeah, and that's really kind of what I said, kind of what I was saying with the intuitiveness of it. And really that's how sometimes I do feel like I eat just because it had been a little while since I ate. But yeah, I usually eat breakfast at 11, eat some lunch at 2, and then have dinner at 5 when I get home. And I keep losing weight, like that's the crazy part about it to me, is that I'm eating this volume of food and I'm dropping pounds, and I've been dropping pounds quick recently. And it's, I drop the pounds the fastest when I'm compliant. And that's the truth of it. It's, you can have periods of time where you fall off the wagon, or you go and try different foods for whatever reason. But, going back to that true north, that what the name of the clinic, the book, that the whole food, plant-based, no processed, salt, oil, sugar free, and even like what you guys are doing with the raw, that's probably truer north in some respects. But that's where you have to get back to. Any deviation from that is going to take you off course. And yeah, and it's keep the focus on the goal. It's to lose the weight, it's to get it off, it's to keep it off, it's to live the rest of your life healthfully, not having to go to see the doctor and take medicines and have surgeries and all the things that happen in this modern society we have. The modern processed foods, has also brought along the modernization of our pharmaceuticals and our surgery centers. And like, it'd be interesting to know if we didn't have the amount of heart disease that we have, and if we didn't have the amount of diabetes, and we didn't have the amount of I guess all the health related stuff, how much we would know about that stuff, because we wouldn't have to be studying it. If it was natural for us, or if it was part of our regular or society to be eating a whole food plant-based diet, to not have, if it one day, if 100 years ago, if they would have said you're not allowed to put chemicals in food, and they stuck to that line, and the government said nothing, um, our population wouldn't have that disease. And then we wouldn't have spent so much money researching how to cure those diseases. And, what we would have been able to spend that money on instead of research for diabetes, if instead of the huge percentage of our population that has diabetes now, if it was a fraction of that or was non-existent, all of that money that we've spent studying diabetes could have been used to study, maybe cancers, or maybe, other fields entirely. Yeah. Anyways, let me see if I have anything else that I didn't really have much prep for today. I did have one other photo I was going to show real quick, because like I said, the weight has been kind of flying off. And so I was not expecting this on the scale today. But I was pleasantly shocked. So I hopped on the scale this morning. I was 247.8, which is like 3 pounds down from what I was yesterday when I got on the scale. And so I'm pretty excited that I think I'm going to be solidly under the 250s here for a little bit. And that is a huge jump, and it really makes reaching my 3-year goal kind of much more attainable. That I'm able to, because I'm essentially 28 pounds away. I got August, September, and October. So that means if I lose, 9 pounds a month for, I guess just over 9 pounds a month for the next 3 months, that I could hit that 220 by the end of the 3 years, which I've been back and forth on how, if I'll hit it, or if I care if I hit it, because eventually I'm gonna hit it, and my life is infinitely better. I'm doing things now that I never would have done. I talked about going to the swimming pool with my kids last week and jumping off the high dive, playing on a merry-go-round, going on a swing. I'm going to play in a pickleball tournament with my brother in a couple weeks. And whether I'm 250 or I'm 220 pounds, I'm able to do those things. Something that I'm just thinking about right now, just whatever. When I was younger, I had friends that went skydiving, and I think that 250 was like the skydiving limit, or maybe it might be a little less than that. But like, I'm at the weights that I'm not likely to see a ride at an amusement park, or a thing that somebody can do, bungee jumping, rappelling, like being under 250 is like being under the weight limits. There's going to be things that I come across that might have lower weight limits, but I'm going to get to them. I want to be able to do anything. I want to be not limited by my weight. And I'm getting to that point, and I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling thin. It's weird being able to see your whole body, like, and being flexible enough to move around and to be able to pick your leg up and ride in the passenger side of a car with your foot on the dashboard. Just things that are just that you wish you could do. You see other people doing, but you're not able to. Dropping something on the floorboard of the car and reaching down and grabbing it without having to, put everybody on the road at risk because your stomach might hit the steering wheel and cause it to swing to the left or something while you're going to reach. Let's see. Jay says, congrats on the 247. Not much more to go. You got this. So proud of you. Yes. And Nikki says, awesome. You're doing great. I don't know what Carrie's saying nope about. I must have asked a question. And then Pretty Girl's mom says, probably lost some fluid from those swollen legs. I think I did. Yeah. I don't know. They look maybe a little bit better, but yeah, it's it's fluid. I mean, I didn't just drop 3 pounds of fat in a day, but it's getting back to the potatoes and the broccoli and the oatmeal and the fruits and the vegetables. Carrie says skydiving, exclamation point. Yes, I would. I think it would be fun to skydive. Yeah, that'd be a fun thing to do. And like I said, that's something that was probably one of the first things that was like my buddies are going to do that, it wasn't even, it would almost have been insulting to ask me to go, because of course he can't go. He's over the weight limit. But yeah, that would be fun. There'd be, there's other things too. I've seen over the years, bungee jumping would be one. There's lots of places where they do like a big, like swing, like I'm sure those have weight limits. And Pretty Girl's mom says, yeah, since yesterday, the fluid, yeah, it's came from somewhere, and I don't feel like I've had a true whole food plant-based bowel movement yet since I've gotten back. There's definitely a satisfaction that comes with, eating a lot of food and passing a lot of food. And I haven't had that yet. I'm hoping that shows up in the next day or so. And then I'll feel like I'm back at it, or I'm back into the real swing of things. And that's, I guess, if anything that I want to get across with eating this way is that it's not a difficult diet to get back on the wagon. Every diet that I did in the past was centered around some form of calorie restriction or volume restriction. And when you're eating that way and you deviate from your diet and you have this, very stimulating food that satisfies the starvation that you're suffering from and the calorie deprivation that you're suffering from, when you try to go back to the old diet, your body fights you really hard because it knows that you're choosing to eat that way and you're choosing to starve yourself. And so it's very difficult to go back to the diet. But when you eat a whole food plant-based diet, that's foundation is eating a large volume and avoiding starvation, then when you deviate from that diet, you're not having to choose to starve yourself. You're having to choose to just eat different food. And that's a huge difference between every other diet I did. Every other diet that I did, when I would go off track or I would eat something that was off plan, my first thought was, okay, now I have to skip dinner or on Weight Watchers, you're counting your points, and you're like, okay, well, I just used all my points by lunch. Now I can't eat dinner tonight. And I ate all my bonus points. And so I'm not going to be able to have the snacks I like to have on the weekend. And so you have to go back to starving yourself, and your body doesn't like that. Your body is not designed to for you to electively choose starvation. Our bodies are designed that if there's food around, we eat it, because we don't get a choice at some point, and we are forced to starve. And in order to get through those periods of time where we're forced to starve, we have to eat everything that's around us when it's around us. And in some climates and cultures, that might have been an abundance of food. If you were near the tropics or the equator, you probably had lots more food around than if you were up in the north or far south. I guess mostly north. I don't know. Is there a cold climate down in South Africa and Australia and New Zealand? Or is that still far enough from the South Pole that it stays warm? I wonder. But maybe you're from the north, and that was even more important, because you had longer periods of time where you had to starve. And we don't live in that world now. So we don't really have to worry about those things. But what we have to realize is that our bodies evolved in that world. And we're not that far away from living a life of starvation. We're not, even in the medieval times, there were probably people that went days and days without food because the spring came late, or the road that was designed to bring food to town, the bridge collapsed, and people had to go with less or go without. But now we don't worry about that, because if a bridge collapses, they just take the next one that's a few miles down the river. It's I don't know. It's just something that we're very fortunate that we live in this world, but the cost of living in this world is dealing with processed foods and dealing with marketing and capitalism, and having to relearn what our ancestors probably knew, and we have to go back to eating an unprocessed diet. We have to remove as much processing as possible. And if you are going to have things that are processed, process them yourself. It maybe takes a few extra minutes to do, but it'll add years to your life. At 39 years old, I was 520 pounds. If anybody would have come to one of my friends or one of my family members and said, "Did you hear John had a heart attack? Did you hear John had a stroke? Did you hear John was suffering from diabetes and had complications from that?" Nobody would have been surprised. Everybody would have been like, "Yeah, he kind of looked like he was about ready for a heart attack anytime." And every extra second that I spend preparing my own food has added years to my life. I mean, there's a chance I'd be dead at 40 or suffered a major health consequence by 40. I mean, I needed to do something when I started this, and I knew I needed to do something. And it saved my life. And every day I get over the age of 40, I get because of this diet and because of this channel and the choices I made. So, it is, it's an amazing feeling to be eating this way and to not be suffering, every day, not waking up with foot pain and everything. So, sorry. Anyways, it's hard to wrap my head around how much suffering that I put myself through, not being able to clean myself, breaking toilet seats, not being able to tie my shoes, and just living with, just having loose shoelaces or tying them loose so I could slip my shoes on and off. And just like I said that we can push our limits, we can put ourselves through hell and and uh and put up with a lot. We can tolerate a lot, and it's how we get to 520 pounds, and with wearing a CPAP machine, pushing 18 pounds of pressure of air into your face, or however they measure it, and not having the energy to play for more than 10 minutes, or being afraid to go out in public and be seen at 500 pounds. But we put up with it, and we figure out a way to find happiness somewhere else. And it almost always seems to be that happiness is in a candy bar or a bag from a fast food restaurant. And, they say that nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. And it's true. There's no amount of temptation that'll get me to go back to eating some of the things I used to eat. I will never eat another animal product. I will never put dairy in my body again, because there's no place for it in our diet. We're surrounded by it. Anyways, I don't know why I'm tired. So, yes, Pretty Gross Mom says we're truly blessed to know this way of eating. And yes, the doctors and the books and everything. I'm gonna take a minute. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to blow my nose. Yeah, it's I've just the things I know now, the things I've learned, what it was that comment there that we're truly blessed to know this way of eating. Yeah, I mean, I can't thank, Chef AJ enough for putting the Pleasure Trap book on Audible so that I was able to listen to it and to learn so much. I've listened to that book like 5 times. I just listened to it last month. And all the other doctor's books just taught me so much. And I wish I could get people to understand that you can eat so much food and you can be satisfied. You can be happy with the food. I love the potatoes and broccoli that I eat. I never get sick of it. And it's wild, It's just like you never get sick of Taco Bell. Like it's the food you eat, you adapt to, and you learn to enjoy the food that you're eating. And sometimes the potatoes are softer than other times, and I enjoy them more when they're softer. But that's no different than when I went to Burger King and sometimes the fries were cooked better than other times, or they had more salt or less salt than other times. And the we adapt. We adapt to survival, we adapt to suffering, we adapt to the food that we eat. And it's amazing eating this way and feeling healthy and being able to pick up and go do a pickleball tournament without even a second thought, and or to be able to climb a ladder or jump off a high dive without any consideration for whether or not my weight's going to hinder me or I'm going to look silly or what's going to happen. Jay says fast food, candy, and junk are all now just memories. Yeah, I mean, it's really the abundance of my diet is going to be this way of eating, and I kind of mentioned, but the true demons that I have to stay away from are the animal products and the dairy and the high calorie oil, like the seed oils and things like that. I think that if you can eat an abundance of food, if you have an abundance of whole food and plant-based, it's easy to stay compliant. You just have to eat the food. Let's see. Tennis and Yoga Girl says, we're all so happy for you, John. Thank you. Jay says you're still tired from your vacation. Yes, I am. You'll be okay. Don't cry. I'll try not to. You are grieving the old way of life and body. It's okay. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, it's I'm tired and I'm thinking about my kids growing up without me. Karen says, I'm so proud of you both for adopting this lifestyle. Those of us who live in the middle of the country have to fight for our world more than others. Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of food out. I mean, it's there. You just have to do the processing yourself. You have to do the cooking of it yourself. There's no, I wish there was just a broccoli and potato fast food restaurant. Like, just pull up, here's some broccoli, here's some potato. You can get one or the other, you can get them mixed together. And be on your way. It would be so nice if that existed, but it just doesn't. And I don't know that we'll see a world where it does. And if that's going to be the case, then we just have to figure out a way to make our way work. And it's that means that we have to travel with an Instapot and find somewhere to plug it in. Then we'll travel with an Instapot, find somewhere to plug it in. If it means that I have to eat some cashews or mangoes because I'm not going to be eating for a couple days, or I'm not going to have a solid plan for a meal, then that's what I got to do. But I got to do everything to stay plant-based. And right. There you go. Jay says, maybe you can start a starch restaurant. Well, you actually wrote, you can starch a starch restaurant, but yes, start a starch restaurant. Yes, you could probably call it, something like from starch, like instead of from scratch or something like that. If I didn't have a moving company, a comic book shop, a nonprofit, a wife and 4 kids, I might be thinking about starting a new venture. But until one of those things can run itself, I'm sticking to this. Plus, I have this YouTube channel that I like to spend time on. But yes, if anybody else is starting a starch restaurant, let me know. And I might have a building in the Midwest you can run it out of. Yeah, Carrie says we cannot add anything else to our plates right now. Absolutely. So yes, yeah, I'm real excited about the next 3 months. I'm hoping that we see a number tomorrow morning like I saw this morning. And if that's the case, then that gets me very excited about what I can do over the next few months, and reaching that goal within 3 years, because that would be pretty awesome. And of everything I've done, pushing that, putting that 3-year goal in front of me, I think has been one of the most rewarding things I did, because it caused me to look at the big picture and the long run and see how this diet, eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, was going to be of benefit to me over time. I could have tried eating a keto diet or a carnivore diet or a low carb diet and lost weight quick, but I don't think that I would have ever been able to lose the weight and keep it off and continue to lose weight like I have. Karen here says that Taco Bell was her nemesis last year and she hasn't had it at all this year. That is awesome, Karen. That is great to hear. I think that, abstention is so key in succeeding. And you got to draw some of those lines, and you got to keep those lines drawn as long as possible, if not forever. Just like I said, I'd never have meat and dairy. That line has been drawn, and I will not cross it. The fast food, I don't, for a while I was eating the Burger King Impossible burgers, or whatever, the burgers they make with the impossible meat, that I was allowing myself to have those, and now I don't really even consider them a thing, and it's nice to be able to, like I said, have that barrier where you don't do it. Ichigo says that the Impossible Burger made their stomach hurt, so they stopped eating them. Yeah, we had some of that Impossible. I think it was the Impossible meat that we bought like in a 1 pound kind of plastic wrap like you see with regular meat, and we cooked it in our kitchen and it got grease everywhere. It was pretty gross. We ended up giving the 2nd pound that we bought away. And yeah, something where I'm sure if you're eating super clean, it really hurts to eat something like that. Jay here says, go Karen, almost 6 years abstinence from Taco Bell for Jay. That's awesome, Jay. Yeah, it's something that you got to hold on to it and put those days together or chain the days together. But it's and it's so good to be away from the marketing. That's really what I'm one of the things I've learned, or one of the things I realized, was how much marketing played a role in what foods I chose to eat and keeping me fat and keeping me from losing weight. And even when I thought I was eating healthfully, it probably wasn't very healthy, but it was the marketing that the company did to make me think that I was eating healthy. And now I don't eat foods that are really marketed. I don't eat foods that you see commercials on TV for. You don't see the carrot producers or the potato farmers with ads on TV saying, buy my potatoes or buy my carrots or buy my broccoli. I just buy what the store has, and the store probably has whatever they can get the cheapest. And so Ichigo here says that they make their own fries in the air fryer oven. No more deep frying anything for them. Yeah, that's something that we bought our air fryer, our Breville air fryer, because that's what we were going to do. And I just like the potatoes in the Instapot so much that the extra effort of doing the air fryer fries, we just don't go through the effort. And but yeah, I know a lot of people like the air fryer fries. Let's see, Jay's talking about Taco Bell. His favorite thing was the black bean hard taco from Taco Bell. And I used to love everything from Taco Bell. I mean, when I would go to a fast food restaurant, it was like I was going to a buffet. I would order a meal, a second meal. I wouldn't get a second meal. Let's see. Get a meal from Taco Bell. I'd get a meal. I'd get their, they had like an energy drink, like a Mountain Dew, whatever Mountain Dew's energy drink was. That was the drink I would get. And then I would get like a cheesy burrito. I would get a Crunchwrap Supreme. I would end up getting a couple of like their $1.29 burritos. And then if they had fries, I'd get their fries. They didn't always have fries. Yeah, I mean, it was insane. I would spend $15 at Taco Bell, and I don't know what it's like now, but spending $15 at Taco Bell, you're getting yourself a nice bag of food. And now I don't even, it's been so long ago, I don't remember what I would order, but at the time, 3 years ago, I had it down. It was like, okay, I'm going to order. In fact, Taco Bell was one of the restaurants where I would pay attention to the price of the item per item versus the price of it as a value meal, because sometimes they would be cheaper to get one thing as a value meal and the other thing a la carte because the value meal was cheaper by 20 cents. And I used to go there that much that I would be able to pay attention to those things to save me 20 cents each time I went to fast food. Carrie says it's nice not to be tempted by all the new unhealthy items. Yes, I see that at Hardee's a lot. I drive by a Hardee's every day on my way to work. And they seem to always have a new, next best thing. And it's really just a different combination of the 10 ingredients that they have in the building. They just put the hamburger on a breakfast biscuit or something now, something stupid. Right. Rochelle says that they love their Instapot. They use it for everything. Yes, I use it for everything. I use it as a crock pot. I use it to reheat my oatmeal, which I know Carrie loved because she had to clean the Instapot out after I use it to reheat my oatmeal. But yeah, the Instapot is so versatile. You can use it for so much stuff. Ichigo says it was Church's Chicken, 15-piece chicken legs and thighs that did them in. $15. Haven't had it in over 2 years now. Yeah. Oh, my calorie bomb was Long John Silver's. That was the place where I would eat that's where I would eat probably the most calories. That was the place that would, if if I died of a heart attack, it would be a product of Long John Silver's A&W root beer combination. I would get cheese curds and corn dog bites and a 2-piece 3 chicken meal, and I'd get chili cheese fries as one of the sides, and maybe I might have got the coleslaw. That was the healthy part of it, is the mayonnaise drenched coleslaw that they sell. Get hush puppies. Yeah, I would spend over $20 at Long John Silver's A&W. That was the one that was the worst, I bet. None of them were great. None of them were even good. But Long John Silver's was probably the worst. And Jay says that their memory of Long John Silver's is when they were on antidepressants, and antidepressants made them crave greasy, crunchy food, and that's exactly what Long John Silver's is greasy, crunchy food. Yeah, but now I don't even have a inkling to it. Now my temptations is Barks root beer and I don't even know. I guess Chipotle burritos. I did have a couple Chipotle burritos over the past week. But it's far different. It's vastly different. Even though it's not great or it's not good, and really there's no amount of anything that is slightly unhealthy that is healthy for you to eat. But yeah, I don't crave that greasy food. I don't crave those hamburgers and cheeseburgers and all that stuff. And that's great. And it's a wonderful consequence of eating this way. That was never the case ever before. I never went on a diet and at any point said that, any point was able to say that I'm so free of those foods that it's It's not even a consideration. So anyways, I hit an hour. I started an hour late. I'm going to head out of here. Thank you guys so much for the support and for the conversation and participation in this kind of thing I'm trying to do with my weight loss. You guys help keep me motivated. I hope that I inspire somebody out there to try doing this type of thing. You know, try eating a proper, natural diet, and see what it can do for you, because I never would have believed that I would be where I'm at now. It was a dream when I started 3 years ago, or 1,004 days ago. I dreamed that, someday I'll be 257 pounds. Someday I'll be 250 pounds. Someday I'll be 220 pounds. But the reality of it is so much better than the dream. And I never would have, I wouldn't be experiencing the reality of it now if I hadn't gotten started and I hadn't stuck to it. And anybody can get started and anybody can stick to it if I did it. You truly can. We're amazing. We are amazing, amazing species that can do amazing things. And you pushed yourself to the limit to get yourself to the weight you're at. And you can push yourself to lose the weight. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It just, you have to understand that it's not going to be quick. Not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next week. If you have hundreds of pounds to lose, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next week. If you have 10 pounds to lose, 20 pounds to lose, maybe you can do it quick. But if you're like I was, with over 300 pounds to lose, give up on the idea of it being quick and understand that however long it takes, it's worth it, because you're going to add years to the end of your life. I added decades. I am certain that I added decades to my life because of this, and you can too. So start eating a whole food, plant-based diet. Start educating yourself. Start reading the books like The Pleasure Trap and Eat to Live and Whole and The Future of Nutrition and Fiber Fueled and The Starch Solution and all of the wonderful books that these doctors have written about eating this way. And understand that it's the best thing that you could possibly do for yourself. Thank you guys. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you get subscribed to the channel. Click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. Hit that like button as well. Let's try to get this out to as many people as we can. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. There's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. I'm 30 pounds away from my goal. And I wish every day that I would have started this the day I saw I was over 500 pounds. If I would have started doing something that day I saw I was over 500 pounds, I'd be 6 months down the road. I'd be 6 months further ahead than I am now. And in 6 months, I'm going to be under 220 pounds. And so get started now. You'll be happy you did. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for weigh-in Wednesday. I'm hoping for a big number. Let's cross our fingers and hope we can keep that weight off.